Yes guys, what's going on? Welcome back to the channel and welcome to episode number 22 of the EAFC25 Rebuild Career Mode here with Sheffield Wednesday, and we are starting off. The first game will be against Swansea, 8th v 9th. We have dropped down to 9th in the table. Before we go into that game, we're just having a look at the squad list. Obviously, we know we've got a fair few injuries out there, so we're just having a look at the squad list we've currently got. Preparing, obviously, as we come into sort of the winter months, preparing for potential sign-ins or players we need to bring in January. So just having a look through, and you can see even some of the loan players. Carizzo's gone up 4 ratings. Obviously, a youth player who we brought in. He only played 1 game for us last season, but he's gone plus 4 rating whilst he's out on loan. Haywood, another one of the youngsters, gone up to a 63. Campbell's up to a 65, obviously playing really well. And then obviously, as I say, you can see obviously the injuries. Ricky J. Jones, Devin Long, we've still got Barry Bannon out injured. We've still technically got Amavi and obviously Max Lowe out injured as well. So still a little bit of a depleted squad at the moment, but we hopefully will get some of those players back from injury over the coming weeks and hopefully get back to a fully fit squad. But we also obviously wanted to look at, we mentioned this a couple of episodes ago, we also wanted to look at some of the players whose contracts were expiring. Obviously we extended 3 of them towards the start of this season, and we said we'd come back and have a look at some of the other players depending on performances and everything this season. And the first player we wanted to offer a new contract to was Dom Iorfa. 30 years old, not old, but not obviously a young player, not going to develop too much, but he's only 68 rated, so again, not even one of the best rated centre-backs in the team. Obviously, we've got Odafin and Bernard, who are both better than him. We've got young players like Drake coming through as well, but obviously, based on his performances, based on the qualities he's got, we wanted to offer him a contract, and luckily he did accept. And then we left the other free agents, not free agents, could potentially be free agents, the other players whose obviously contracts are running down, we did leave them for now, but again, we will revisit that. And there's good news with Devin Long coming back from injury. But as I said at the start, we jump into the first game of the episode against Swansea. So we're currently sitting in 9th. Swansea were coming into this game sitting in 8th. So a bit of a potential playoff 6 points coming up here. And we did change the team around a little bit. Kadamaturi was starting up front. Obviously, we've spoken about Aikugbo's form over recent games. So we decided to give Kadamaturi a bit of a chance. We've got Jenkins sitting in that defence midfield role, giving Chalobah a bit of a rest as well. So a few changes here and there, but hopefully we could get a decent result. And we got a couple of decent chances early in the first half. You saw the shot there from Kadamaturi from range, but unfortunately saved by the goalkeeper. And then just a couple of minutes after that, we did get the break. The Swansea cross fell to Ingleson, who headed it down to Jenkins. Found Paul Sullivan, who was starting a rare game for him down this right hand side. Plays into Piotrowski, who was making his first game back from injury in that right back role to give Valerie a rest. And Piotrowski cuts inside, gets a shot on that right foot, but unfortunately the keeper tipped it around the post and it did go out for a corner, which came to nothing. And we did go into half time at 0-0. But coming into the second half, a bit of a slow start from both teams, but Swansea did start to pick up the pace as the second half went on. Josh Cullen gets through here, gets a shot away, decent save by Pierce Charles, but unfortunately it fell straight into the path of Ji-sung, the midfielder from Swansea, to fire it in. No goalkeeper, no defender in the way or anything, so a fairly straightforward finish for Ji-sung in the end, and that did give Swansea the 1-0 lead. And then at that point, 10 minutes left of the game, we decided we needed something to try and get the game back in our favour. We brought in 3 substitutes. Austin Haywood and Aikugbo were 2 of those players, and then from the resulting throw-in straight off that, Austin Haywood, the player who's just come on, picks up the ball, cuts inside, plays it into the youngster Alex Campbell, and Alex Campbell gets a shot away. And turns out I'm an absolute tactical genius as a manager. Austin Haywood obviously just come off the bench, is involved straight away, gets the assist, and it's Alex Campbell, the young left winger, who fires that goal in to bring the scores to 1-1. And the final chance of the game came to Aikugbo, who, as I say, we brought on as a substitute. Gets a shot away after a decent run, but unfortunately the keeper saved it and the scores did stay at 1-1. So a point away from home against Swansea. As I said, a sort of potential 6-point playoff battle. But unfortunately we couldn't get the 3 points, but we'll definitely take 1 point in this game. And then one player who unfortunately did miss that game was obviously Dom Iorfa after his red card against Sheffield United, but fortunately he is back from his suspension back into the first team. And we did then go have a look at the youth squad, and one of the players obviously who'd been developing into a right back from a centre back was Morgan Willis, and he did complete his transition over to right back, and we put him on that full back training plan. And then some even better news coming off back of that, Barry Bannon, the club captain, has returned from injury. So as with all injuries, we've said it before and we'll say it again, not in a position to start straight away or be in the matchday squad straight away, but he's returned from injury and he should be ready in a couple of games time. But then it brings us to the second game of the episode, at home at Hillsborough against Portsmouth, and you'd have noticed there we do have a left back in the team once again. Jordan Amarvi back from injury and gets a chance to start in this game. Jan Valery back over to that right hand side. As I say, obviously at one point Jordan Amarvi was out for 3 months, then just as Jordan Amarvi was coming back but not quite fit, we lost Max Lowe to injury as well, so we were having to play Jan Valery in that left back role. But luckily Jordan Amarvi is back and he's playing left back, and as I say, Jan Valery back in the right hand side. Ikugbo's back up front for us in this game as well, so see what he can do. But it was us who started the better of the two teams. A decent first chance that you saw there, and then from resulting corner, ball comes out to Ingleson, plays into Campbell plays it into Valery, but unfortunately Valery's header couldn't quite get any power or direction on it, and it did go behind the goal, and the score stayed at 0-0. And then 10 minutes before half time, Teddy Bishop steams his way through past to Sean Bernard, gets a shot away, but unfortunately he fires it wide, and the scores once again stayed 0-0. And then 5 minutes before half time, it's Bishop again. Had some really good opportunities in this game, to be fair. Bishop, the young Portsmouth striker, gets a good shot, but again drags it wide and keeps the scores at 0-0. But as the second half started, the best chance of this game so far, Campbell plays it in, Ikugbo's there to get the header, and he managed to get his first goal in a fair few games. And you can see the absolute joy on his and his teammates' faces, and also the manager's face as well. Obviously he's been on a bit of a barren run in terms of goal scoring recently, but fortunately for us he has got back on the score sheet. We dropped him last game obviously for Kadamaturi. He's come back with a vengeance in this game and does get the goal to give us a 1-0 lead, and hopefully one that we can hang on to. But obviously being 1-0 down, Portsmouth wanted to come back and obviously get the equalising goal, and they started really piling pressure on us here. A couple of decent chances for us there, and then another one here. Bishop plays it into Murphy. Murphy pulls away, no one around him, gets a shot away, but hits the side netting, and the scores do stay at 1-0. And then 10 minutes before the end of the game, Bishop picks ball up. He's been threatening it all game from the edge of the box, fires one in, and it's too powerful for Pierce Charles to keep out, and he does manage to reduce deficit and bring the scores to 1-1. But we did have a decent chance just a couple of minutes later. A poor defensive clearance, falls to Campbell, he picks it to Ugbo. Ugbo gets a shot with no one around him, about 8 yards out, but unfortunately straight down the keeper's throat, and the scores do end at 1-1. And then another injury picked up. Luckily this time it's only a 5-day one, so he'll only miss one game for Ikugbo after that goal from him. But then we come into our final game of the episode, away from home at the Stadium of Light against Sunderland. As I say, obviously Ikugbo's out of this one, Kadamaturi's starting up front. And once again, obviously we know in real life, obviously Sunderland got promoted to the Premier League, now in the Premier League, so we knew it was going to be a difficult game. And obviously the main focus at the start was this man, the Sunderland striker Miles LeBurn, 3 goals in his last 3 games, so we knew we definitely had to try and keep him quiet. But it was Sunderland who, probably as predicted, started better of the teams. I think we actually came into this game about 15th to be fair, so they're not performing brilliant on this save, but obviously they have got a really good team, so we knew they were going to be strong, and they got a good chance there, but tip round post from Pierce Charles. And then from the resulting corner, ball falls to Dan Neil, he plays it into Luke O'Nien. Luke O'Nien plays it to that man we were warned about, Miles LeBurn, but fortunately he drags his shot and it goes wide of the post to keep the scores at 0-0. But Sunderland kept piling the pressure. It's LeBurn again, he skips past the defender, gets a decent shot away, but fairly straight down the middle, and an easy save for Pierce Charles in the end to hang on to. And then we did get a chance ourselves. Jamal Lowe, he's done this a few times throughout this save, picks the ball up in his own half, skips away from the defenders, gets a shot on his left foot, but unfortunately he just run out of energy at that point, couldn't get much power on his weaker left foot, and again it was straight down the keeper's throat. And then Sunderland did unfortunately for us take the lead. Some really good feet there from Ian Poveda, finds that man Miles LeBurn, and they warned us about him, should I say, before the game, and unfortunately he did find the space and he did get the shot away to give Sunderland a 1-0 lead. Not much going on in the second half, to be honest. As you can see, we're already 10 minutes in, a decent shot, or 10 minutes from the end of the game, should I say. Decent shot from their player, but unfortunately was saved by the goalkeeper. And then another good shot from them from the edge of the box, but once again saved by Pierce Charles to keep the scores at 1-0. And hopefully, obviously, we could do what we did against Swansea and get a last-minute equaliser. It's Piotrowski who gets through, playing right back, but unfortunately his shot was just a little bit too high, a little bit too powerful, rattles against crossbar and goes over for a goal kick, and the scores did end at 1-0. And then there's the confirmation, obviously, just for one game, Ikugbo out, so he is back ready to play in the next game against Derby County. But as always, that's going to bring this episode to an end. As always, thank you very much for anyone who has reached this point and has watched this episode or this series. As always, please comment any suggestions down below. Please like and subscribe to follow the journey and to show your support, and I'll see you in a couple of days on the next one. As always, take care of yourselves and goodbye. Take care.